Good morning, everybody. First day of 2023. And I thought I had a really cool idea. Let's grab a coffee. I've got those really old newspapers that go right back to 1909 in my area. And I thought, let's time warp back and check out the news from over 100 years ago. Let's do this. So happy New Year's, everybody. Before we get into the 1909 Cobalt here, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you guys for a great year. Lots of things planned for the next year coming up. 2023 kind of blows my mind. But yeah, this is how it starts. Gary reading a 100-plus-year-old newspaper. Let's do this. Okay, so the local paper was called the Cobalt Daily Nugget. And that eventually became the Nugget, the North Bay Nugget. Right here it says the Cobalt Daily Nugget. Cobalt's first daily. With this issue, we present to the public the first issue of Cobalt's first daily paper. Then they have the rates, subscription terms, single copy, 5 cents. Daily in Canada, 1 year, $5, so $5 a year. $7 in the US. Weekly in Canada, 1 year is $3, and weekly in US, $4. Oh, I have to read this because as you go on talking about the paper, this is what they said about their own paper. This, the first issue of our new daily, is produced under many difficulties, which means that no further apology is necessary. It is not up to the standard of newspaper excellence at which we aim, but it is a fair start. And the first story that caught my eye was a cool little one here. Dog must die. John Truncheon owns a dog with carnivorous tendencies, and the animal has succeeded in keeping his owner in constant hot water through an inordinate appetite for the fleshy parts of his neighbors. Magistrate Uyghur, after listening to several complaints as to the activities of the canine, ordered the animal to the guillotine. 1909 to the guillotine? Oh, that's cruel. Oh, we gotta look at this one. The title says accident or suicide. And I'm almost, hey, how come it doesn't say murder? Toronto, January 23rd. Jacob D. Diebel, a dry goods merchant of Windsor, Ontario, fell or jumped from a fifth-story window at the King Edward Hotel yesterday morning, striking the roadway just west of the King Street entrance. He died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. His right side, shoulder, and arm were shattered by the 60-foot fall, but his head and face escaped injury. Mr. Diebel came to Toronto yesterday in connection with a lawsuit in which it is said charges would be made today that Mr. Diebel was involved in smuggling transactions between Windsor and Detroit. His solicitor, however, scouts the idea of suicide and says he probably fell out while raising or lowering his window. Mr. Diebel was in good spirits when he retired at midnight. He was a bachelor and formerly kept a store at Essex, Ontario. That makes no sense at all. He was in great spirits, so he killed himself. And he's in town on charges, probably involving ripping somebody else off or something. My goodness. Yeah, he opened the window and he fell right out. Wow, that dude was murdered. Jacob D. Diebel. Remember these names. We could use information from these papers in our Spirit Box sessions. There is so much stuff here. This is just the first paper. Firemen prove smart. About 3 o'clock Friday morning, fire was discovered in the business premises of Beg Bros, dry goods and clothing merchants. The new paid fire department demonstrated their usefulness by being quickly on the scene and getting the blaze under control in short order. Appearances indicated that an attempt had been made to burglarize the store, and the intruders lighted matches to guide their operations, when a lucifer dropped among some inflammable material and the marauders hastily decamped. A lucifer? What's that? A matchstick? A brand of matches? We're going to have to look that up. A large quantity of stock was damaged, the loss being estimated at $8,000, covered by insurance. Yeah, $8,000 back in 1909? This sounds like an inside job. Okay, we also have to take a look, church being what it was back in the day, at donations during December. This is pretty cool. 12 large citrons, Mrs. W.R. Mackin. Roses, magazines, Mrs. Short. 6 jars mincemeat, Mr. and Mrs. Brown King Edward. Margarines and books. C.H. Moore, flowers, Mrs. Richardson. Flowers. Mr. Wayman, 2 turkeys. Campbell Jameson Meat Company, a box of cigars. Guy owns a meat company and he's donating cigars? You cheap bugger. To the church? Here's a good news story. $200,000 legacy for Chatham nurse. Her unceasing attention to wealthy patient is thus rewarded. This might make some of you feminists a little upset, the way they word this. Special to the Daily Nugget, Chatham, January 21st. Everything comes to he who waits is an old adage that may be adapted to the following incident, the only difference being that in this case, it applies to a member of the fairer sex. Miss Ethel Gillies, formerly of Chatham, a trained nurse, has been left $200,000 by a grateful patient whom she nursed through a long and fatal illness. Did she really nurse him if he died? $200,000 back in 1909. Oh my goodness. Maybe she knocked him off for the money. Is anybody else finding this stuff absolutely amazing? I find it funny, historical. There could be clues and tips in here that you could use to find old places. They talk about burglaries. There's other things that I'm not even reading, but I find it entertaining. Am I crazy? What do you guys think? Leave a comment. Let me know. I just woke up this morning and thought, let's do something completely off the wall different. And I'm actually enjoying reading this paper. Telegraphic briefs. News from the world's busiest centers told in a few lines. There is some crazy stuff here from 1909. Woodstock, January 21st. James Masters, aged 21, was killed by a falling tree in West Zorra. Montreal, January 21st. Duncan MacDonald, the McGill student found shot in a fraternity house, died this morning. Prince Rupert. 20,000 tons of rock were blown up in one blast, an entire hill being absolutely cleaned away. Oliver Pepin from Montreal was sentenced to 7 years imprisonment for assaulting a jeweler at Montreal and attempting to rob a clerk. Johannesburg, January 23rd. A great disaster is reported from the Winterson gold mine here today. The bursting of a dam caused the flooding of the mine, and 10 white men, together with 150 natives, were drowned. Still that separation there of white men and natives. Houses in Eiselberg were swept away by the flood, and 13 other lives were lost as a result. J.J. Anderson, Room 11, Hunter Block, Cobalt. I have a few good claims in the Montreal River District for sale. One at Gwanda Lake, close to the big discoveries, and one of the first staked in that section. Timber. J.J. Anderson. So that guy's selling timber claims. Oh, here's a good one. Standard Explosives. Limited. High-grade dynamite. Fuse caps, electric fuses, batteries, etc. Room 3, Hunter Block, Cobalt, Ontario. You can just show up at this guy's room and buy dynamite. Coal delivered in bags. Phone your orders for prompt delivery. We carry nails, rubberoid roofing, tar, felt, building felt, cement, fire brick, iron pipe fittings, valves, drill steel, pumps, packing bar iron, etc. We sell at right prices. A.T. Short. Here's a cool ad. We do not make a roar without a reason for roaring. But the reason we roar is because all our meats are of the highest quality, being government inspected. Because the fish and vegetables we supply cannot be surpassed in excellence. Because lowest prices only is our policy. Therefore, we invite your esteemed patronage. Note our address: Cobalt Palace Meat Market, Josh Bellemier's Old Stand, Haileybury Road, phone 55. Does that mean phone numbers only had 2 digits back in 1909? That's crazy. Oh, please tell me this paper has a personal section. You've got to see what's going on back in 1909. Wealthy swineherd looking for love. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can find any ads. I doubt it. No personals, but a wanted and for sale section. Wanted, a competent nurse for young children. Wanted, claims of the Northwest, highest prices paid for warrants, whatever that is. Want to buy for cash. 6 of the best silver-bearing claims in the Montreal River District. Boys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, we will give absolutely free a handsome pair of hockey skates for selling 24 packages of court plaster. We trust you. Send no money, only your name and address to the Consolidated Specialty Company, West Toronto. Chinese laundry wanted. Cook, good all-around man. Wanted permanent position in camp at Cobalt. Lessons in French will be given by competent teacher to those desiring the same. That one's under miscellaneous. No personals though. They hadn't discovered in 1909 the value of selling personal ads to the public. Imagine that. Oh, we got to look at this ad. Ogilvy's Royal Hold. So it's a royal household flower ad. And this is what the ad says. You would soon get rid of a servant who did only half the work in double the time of a capable one. Then why continue using a flower that gives half the nourishment and double the work to digest? Okay, this is just strange, but kind of cool. Babies by the carload. Washington, January 21st. Railway companies often get some peculiar consignments, but probably the record has been broken by that here referred to. A carload of 75 babies was distributed in New Orleans today. The precious freight came from the New York Foundling and Orphan Asylum. Scores of foster parents were waiting at the station to lay claim to the little ones for whom they had previously applied. Crazy. Okay, this paper just won my heart. They have a section, a department for the amateurs, Camera Corner, with weekly prize for the best print. Then they go on and talk about a whole bunch of camera stuff. And they have a section called Camera Chat, valuable hints to followers of the photographic art. And they go on to talk about snow scenes and how to take snow photographs back in 1909. There it is, guys. Time warp back 100 years to Northern Ontario. And the stories that were being told, the records that were being kept, and the possible murders that were being covered up. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you in the next adventure.